The Benjamin Netanyahu address was 10% speaking, 90% clapping. In fact, there wasn't a chair in the room that got warm for even a minute. But that was not enough for some people. The Washington Post's Jennifer Rubin said that one man in particular had not been nearly as clappy as he should have been. That is Rand Paul. Here are some of the tweets that she sent out, culled from many tweets that she sent attacking Rand Paul. So he sent out saying something that he was in support of Israel. She said, then why would you seriously contemplate containment or propose a budget that cuts aid, including aid to Israel? She said he was unenthused. He was lifelessly applauding Bibi. Oops, almost like he's been faking his support for Israel until now. Ooh, with admirable retweet numbers there. She's doing pretty well for herself on Twitter. She said Paul's staff complains that he clapped plenty during the speech. Fair. Real question should be about record and positions. But that is after multiple tweets saying that that man had not clapped nearly enough.
Yeah, I thought maybe that she meant the position of his claps. Like, okay, fine, he did clap over 50 times, that's not bad, but not enthusiastically. And he did a little to the right when it should have been a little
bit. You got to cup it, keep the air in so it echoes throughout the room.
He didn't do enough of enthusiastic meathead claps like this. Oh, let's go, BB! Let's go! B-I, 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 B-I.
I would have liked to have seen a woo, 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 woo. That would have shown proper enthusiasm for a foreign leader.
No Arsenio Hall
Not
at all.
And you know he watched that show back in the day.
Okay, look at how absurd this is, man. Look at how crazy this is. In America, if a United States senator does not enthusiastically enough applaud a foreign leader while in the midst of giving him a standing ovation over 50 times, not good enough. You didn't bow down enough to Israel's prime minister.
Yeah.
And these are the guys who ironically say, Obama gave a slight bow to like the Japanese leader or the Saudi leader. And of course, Bush used to make out with the Saudi leader. They forgot that. But anyway, but like, how dare you bow to a foreign leader? And they're like, why weren't you on the ground groveling in front of Netanyahu's feet?
Yeah. But can I take it slightly over the top? We have seen this in a very classic piece of literature. It was George Orwell's 1984. And during the 2-minute hate, you were worried that someone would look at you and you would not have enough passion and anger on your face, that they would judge you, and perhaps the government would come and seek you out and take you in for not having the right frame of mind. And that's what Jennifer Rubin is doing here to Rand Paul, a man who, I bet if you went down the list, 9 out of 10 positions specific to Israel, he shares her position. But it is not enough because he kind of like glanced down.
Maybe he didn't have enough coffee that morning. Besides which, who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
How did she notice?
Okay, no. This is totalitarian. You're absolutely right about that. And by the way, it's not just a reference to literature. It just happened. It happened in North Korea when Kim Jong-il passed away. There was the weeping in the streets and the signs of grief. And that totalitarian government was looking at the tapes to see who didn't cry enough. Okay, and then there were consequences. We did this story on the show. There were consequences if you did not grieve enough when the dear leader passed away. In this case, our dear leader isn't even our leader. It's somebody else's leader. And if you don't grovel to him enough, if you're not like, yes, baby.
You should have to switch your pants halfway through the speech. They should have a short little break where you switch your pants, you come back in fresh, ready for the conclusion.
Yeah, this is unbelievable. I have never seen a country that has given over its sovereignty as much as we see in an instance like this. I mean, these are the guys who are constantly talking about, oh, U.S. sovereignty! Unless, of course, it's Israel, in which case, screw our leader. Let's not only do every single thing that the other leader says, a foreign leader says, but we're watching you. And if you're not enthusiastic enough as you're kissing his hand, ring, then there will be consequences.
Okay, so, but let's talk briefly.
You know what? I'm sorry, one more thing.
Okay.
These are the same guys who say that political correctness is wrong. I can't imagine a better definition of political correctness. Can you imagine if the liberals said, while Obama was giving the State of the Union, some people were not clapping enthusiastically enough. We need you to clap harder. They would be like, oh, totalitarian state propaganda, political correctness.
That's the sort of enthusiasm I want to see out of Rand Paul. which you just demonstrated right there.
All right.
So we do have Rand Paul. He was asked about this by Brian Kilmeade, who's always just doing his best. And here is Rand Paul's response.
You don't have a monitor here, but we have some of your reaction during the speech, and you look less than thrilled hearing the speech. And as we roll it back, let me tell you what the National Review said. Rand Paul's outspoken views against muscular foreign policy and foreign aid. You look less than enthused while the Prime Minister spoke. What were you thinking?
You know, I think what's funny about it is that you have these gossipy websites who really demean themselves by putting stuff like that out. I gave the Prime Minister 50 standing ovations. I co-sponsored bringing him here. And on the day that I also decided to co-sponsor the Corker bill that says any final deal has to be approved, we have gossipy websites looking up at, you know, the metric of how fast you clap. I mean, I think they demean themselves by putting that out.
This is unreal, man. Now, Rand Paul actually doesn't agree with some of Netanyahu's positions, right? So Netanyahu doesn't believe in any negotiations because he literally offered no alternative. He said, here are my conditions for Iran. And one of the conditions was they have to generally stop being more aggressive. Okay, I'd like to see how they're going to check that off of Netanyahu's list.
Well, all Iranians have to clap more slowly. Don't be too enthusiastic.
Okay, because apparently the Iranians have to check it by not the 6 countries they're negotiating with, China, Russia, etc. They have to go to Netanyahu. We have climbed into a cave and we have not come out for a couple of years. Is that not aggressive enough? Okay, yes, check. Now you can go ahead. So there is no alternative. And even if they did everything that Netanyahu demanded, okay, he then didn't say like, okay, then this is the deal I would make with them. He never proposed an alternative. So Rand Paul doesn't really agree with that. Rand Paul believes that we should not be as warlike in the Middle East.
Yeah.
He's a libertarian. That is the correct libertarian position.
And it's his general position worldwide, not necessarily specifically in that region. He thinks that in general we should be more hesitant to use military force.
And in my opinion, some of the things that Netanyahu said, the only reason Rand Paul is clapping is because if he didn't clap, look at what happens when he didn't clap enough, right? Imagine if he wasn't clapping at all. But if I was Rand Paul, I would have the courage of my convictions and I'd be like, no, I agree with Israel on all of these different things, but I don't agree that we should start a conflict with Iran. And if you don't like that, or another foreign leader doesn't like that, they can go ahead and hashtag suck it. Okay? I'm not running to be the prime minister or the deputy prime minister of Israel. I'm running for president of the United States of America.
Now, doesn't that suck that it has to be like that because you're going to run for president on the Republican side, that you have to make sure you're crazy enough to make it past the primaries? We know that's what they're setting up for. It'd be crazy enough to run for the primaries to be on the side 100% and show your Republican card, but then not be too crazy to try and win a general, which hasn't been able to really, it looks like it's getting harder and harder to do that. So you have to prove, no, I helped invite him. No, I really wanted him here. No, his ball's rich, and so I scratched him for him. No, while Mitch McConnell was over here on his knees, I was picking him back up. You know, I mean, you have to demean yourself so far, don't you? When you leave that interview, aren't you like, fuck, I feel like scum. I feel like nothing. I feel like less of a man right now. It's amazing.
Yeah, and it's so funny because these are the guys who claim to be tough guys, right? They're the strong men, right? But in reality, they're not. They're pussies. That's why they like authoritarian governments, because they want to bow. They want to kneel down.
It's easier.
See, most of these people, they're not going to become the leader. They're going to go and serve a leader like Putin, King Abdullah, Netanyahu, whoever it might be, right? So their streak is not to be strong. Their streak, the conservative streak, is to be a pussy and to get on your fucking knees and beg and grovel and go, yes, dear leader, yes, do whatever you want to me. Take my freedom, take my liberty, take my sovereignty. Do whatever the fuck you want because I'm a pussy and I need a strong leader to whip me into shape.